I'm Melanie of Art Studio 320, and this is my baby boy, Teddy. Say hi, Teddy. Aw, honey, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you haven't been here before. Please consider subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to ring the little bell so that you will be notified the next time one of my videos comes out. Today's video, I am working on a very old piece. It's a family piece. Here it is. It's pretty beat up. It looked pretty innocent. I thought it was gonna be easy. It was not. But in the end, I'm still smiling. I really did learn a lot. I tried a lot of new things in this video. I even have a special guest come in and help me out. I don't give a good picture of this in the rest of the video, so I want to make sure that you see what this is. This is the pink stuff I use in the end. I just want to point out it is very toxic. So please read the label before you consider using this. And if you are going to use it, please wear a respirator. It is not something you want to breathe. Something I didn't learn until about 3/4 of the way through my project. Anyway, on with the show. So today starts a new project. It shouldn't take me too long. I do have a lot of little repairs to do. It should be a pretty easy project. Once I get going, I will be doing some sanding today too. So let's get going. First thing I need to do is get rid of all of those cobwebs. Okay, I'm going to start with the Porter cable. Got this cap on here that falls off. I wanted to tackle the top first because that usually takes the longest. I'm getting down to the raw wood. I want to try a 60 grit block sander. My hands are getting tired of it. There were a couple layers of different things like varnish and stain, and it was hard to get off. I went back to the power sander with the 80 grit sandpaper because it was just easier. What I'm trying to do is get a nice clean line along the top because I got a nice clean line on the front. So now I need to come back and do it here and on the other side. I don't know if you can tell, but the wood is not very pretty. I'm still debating on what to do. I like to show some of the wood. It's hard for me to paint over the whole thing. This wood is kind of bleh, so I'm still thinking about it. I really wanted to define the top because I knew I wanted that to look different than the rest of the piece. So it was really important to me to get as nice of a line as possible. I started with the minwax wood putty to make some repairs. I'm going to use this. It can't hurt. Here I am working on the sides of the piece, desperately trying to sand off all of the extra varnish and stain and paint. It was quite a task. It's important to keep the dust under control, and there was a lot. I'm using General Finishes gel stain. The color is Java. Really wanted to get a nice deep dark tone to the top. You can see the variations in the wood in not such a great way. It's just not very nice wood. I have a couple things I might try, but if that doesn't work, then I'm just gonna paint it. Because, you know, that'll look great too. But I'll put my signature on it somehow. Now comes the drawers, and as you can see, there is a lot going on. So I tried this Durham's Rock Hard Water Putty, and it's easy to use. It's water soluble, and you just mix up what you need and what consistency you need. And I wanted to spread it across the entire piece. I used a chip brush just so I could fill in all of those little dings, and it worked pretty well. And then I needed to use a little bit of a thicker paste to fill in the holes where the hardware had been, and there was a chip on the corner of the drawer. So I just used less water for that. This drawer, I had meticulously put the wood putty in each little hole and scratch, which was fine, except it wasn't thick enough. What I learned about this wood putty is that it shrinks, like most wood putties, which I didn't know. So I made this thicker, and I put on more. I sanded that down and began to paint with a few touch-ups. The paint I started with was General Finishes Milk Paint in Seagull Gray. I am sanding again. See this? They're popping through the paint. What's popping through is the wood filler in spite of all of my sanding. So I sanded some more and then went over it again to see if that helped. I even put on a second coat. A weird day. This project has just been way more difficult than I expected it to be. I had issues with every single thing so far. The drawers were all so beat up. It was a lot of sanding for 4 drawers. And the body of the piece. I'm going to clean up now. I've done all that I can do. And tomorrow's another day. So, see you tomorrow.
Cut it, keep doing it, or you could mark them all now. And if one's a pinch smaller than the other, it just doesn't matter. You know, it's entirely up to you.
I am so lucky to have a husband that offers to show me how to safely use his tools and how to correctly measure everything.
Now, cut it at 30 inches because you don't want your hands by the table saw. So if you cut it to the longest one, you'll be fine. And then we'll cut them to length later.
Ooh.
Yep.
There's a laser you can't see, but it's cool.
So go to your last cut. The fence. There you go. I would. Okay.
Where do I?
Oh, you're right-handed, right?
Yeah.
So I will hold your hand here.
Okay.
And then you gotta push this, hold that, and just go slow. Just go slow. And just watch it down. So you got that.
That was fun. Look at how good that looks.
Now you need one more.
Okay, this is for the face. Phil didn't really want to be in my video, but I thought it was important that you hear how he was instructing me.
Closer to the piece.
Got it. Oh, okay. I see. I see what you're saying. By the way, that's a miter saw. Now on to the table saw. Now the table saw is a little scary.
You're going to run this through, okay, and you're going to keep your fingers here, okay? You're not going to put your fingers anywhere else. You're here. So you're keeping downward pressure and pressure against this way. Okay, so you're going to run it through. And eventually you're going to get way up here and you're going to kind of run out of table. Then you're going to lift it up, leave it. You want me to show you one?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's.
That sounds scary.
I'll use this. I guess it needs to be cut.
There are a lot of things that can go wrong when using a table saw, even for a professional like my husband. Bill sensed my apprehension, so we decided I'd practice and maybe we'd do it next time. Measure here.
Yeah.
Practice by...
Would you be okay to do this and do that?
Way.
Or, yeah, do it like that. And, okay, one more thing.
Yeah.
Keep this all the way out. All you gotta do is pull it down. But let go of the trigger before you lift it up, and that will ensure that this piece doesn't go flying somewhere.
Okay.
Just let the saw stop.
I'm cutting these pieces I'm going to attach to the bottom of the dresser, which will allow me to add legs. This, even though I didn't cut it. The long piece is going on the back of the dresser. I'm using some wood glue to glue it in because there wasn't a piece there at all, and I needed something that I could attach the legs to. Then I put the clamps on to hold it in place so that when I start to secure it with the nail gun, it will hold in place. This was not difficult, but awkward because you had to get underneath to secure it because there's nothing on the back. So now I'm adding the smaller pieces I cut to the corners so that I had something to attach the top plate to, which is what I put the legs on. Now the two pieces I add in the front, I had to nail from the front to the back. Otherwise, the nails would come right through, which I learned the hard way. Here is the top plate that I will now attach to each of the corners. And I start with a drill. I'm pre-drilling the holes, and then I will switch to an impact driver to put in the screws. Now I'm using another fun tool called an oscillating saw, and what it's doing is it's just trimming the very end of the piece that I put on the back because it was just a little too long. So this just trims that little piece off so that I can add that last little block to fix the corner. And I'm using some wood glue for that. And then I'm just going to stick it on there and then add a clamp until it dries. Now I can finish putting on my top plates, and then I'm going to put some nails in my little block. Add my top plate for that corner. And now I get to put on the legs. It's Friday, and I had an exciting afternoon. So now I'm going to paint the body. I did slightly change the color of the drawers. So what I did is I took the seagull gray, and I had mixed 1 part antique white, the general finish is antique white, and 1 part seagull gray. And I mixed them together, and that's what this is. It's not that it's not pretty, it's just not what I was looking for. What I did is I took more seagull gray and I put most of the quart in my other container where I mixed the paint. Changed it, I'll show you that too. It's not gonna be dramatic, and you may not even be able to tell. I think this is enough of a change. It's probably hard to see here. I think it'll look nice. Now I can finally turn my attention to the sides and the the actual body of the piece. I'm sanding down some of the wood filler here, including the spot where I added that little piece, that little white block, and sanding it down after it dries. Then I'm going to vacuum it out again, clean it down with some vinegar and water, and get it all ready to paint. This is the Zibra triangle brush that I use for detail. You can also use it in larger areas as well. And here's the paint that I mixed up, adding more and more seagull gray, trying to get it a little bit darker than it was. I actually tried the seagull gray to begin with all by itself, and I didn't like that either. I want to give you a tip. Can you see my brush? Can you see that it's clean up here? When you dip your brush in the paint, it's probably even too high here, but up here is really hard to clean, so it's easier, well, it's better for the brush too, if you just dip a little bit in there. So just a little tip, that's all. Okay, I'm done. I decided, since the wood on the top wasn't the best looking with the stain, I thought I'd give it a little help by watering down the paint that I was using on the rest of the piece, watering it down a lot, and whitewashing it on the top. And I have to say, I really like how it came out. So I guess you could say that is my signature for this piece. I still have some naked legs, so I need to put the gel stain and the same Java color on them. And then I get to decide whether I want to whitewash them like the top or leave them just as they are. I'm wearing a respirator here because the smell of the stain was really strong and gave me a headache when I did it for the top, so I decided to put it on while I was staining. Jazz hands. All right. Good night. I have been doing some things this morning, but I didn't put it on video. I have had this nagging feeling all week. I'm connected to this piece because it's something that was connected to my mom. But the nagging part of it is that there are so many dings, and I tried a few different things. I want to learn how to do it correctly, so I'm gonna suck it up. If this stuff works on the spot that I am working on right this moment, then I'm gonna do it to the whole piece. Here I'm trying one last time, and I'm using plastic wood X as the wood filler this time. You can see how the minwax wood filler just didn't work. It kept popping through. So here we go again. So today I'm going to be making repairs again. You learn by practicing, so I might as well use it on a piece that is my own, and it can even mean more to me. Stop for a second. I'm using a 60 grit, which is pretty coarse. It's working. So here's that plastic wood X. It goes on pink, which was nice because when it dried, it turned sand color. Phil had picked this up for me at Menards. I think he felt sorry for me because I was so frustrated. I took it slow when I was sanding, and that seemed to help as well. I could tell right away that this last attempt with the wood filler had worked, so I was very excited. Yes! It was a successful day. Oh, here's that corner I've been working on. Looks pretty good. Bye. I'm finally getting to put on a sealer. This is Dixie Belle's Big Mama's Butter. Very funny name. Smells really good. This is the Orange Grove scent. And it was very easy to apply. I used a brush. It didn't take me any time at all, and it dried pretty quick as well. I also put the Big Mama's Butter on the legs and the top. It turned out beautifully. The last thing I had to do was just put on the hardware. Here I'm using what's called a jig so that I can control where my holes go and attach the screws into the holes, and voila. This is what I started with. And this is what I turned it into. For all the problems I had creating this new piece, it was worth every minute because I will take that knowledge to the next piece that I do, and I'm quite pleased with it. I think it turned out really nice, and it was well worth the effort that I put into it. I'm proud of it. Well, that is all I have for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll try some of what I did, or even all of it. Thank you so much for stopping by. See you next time. Be sure to check out the comments below for any information about this video, the materials that I used, and the links where you can purchase them.